Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Gabbin with Gavin. I'm your host, Gavin Broniker. Last week we got to sit down and talk to a professional here at Bellarmine that's actually going into his retirement. And now, this week, we're going to sit down and talk to another person here that works at Bellarmine and is sort of just getting going in his career. So I'd like to welcome Mason McGrew. Mason, it's great to have you on, man.
Thanks for having me, Gavin. Great to be here.
So, Mason, you've been working here at Bellarmine for how many years now?
So I started in the summer of 2020, which you'll know is that was lockdown summer. So I started working from home from Bellarmine there, but that's when I went into staff, and then was a student worker a couple years before that. So
awesome. Yeah. So Mason, you went to school here at Bellarmine, is that correct?
Yeah, I went here for undergrad for exercise science and nutrition, then graduated in 2018, and then went right into my master's program with health communication and digital media.
Did you? Oh, sorry.
No, and then that was it. So
yeah. Did you sort of expect to stay here at Bellarmine? Is that something that you wanted to do?
I guess going through undergrad, didn't ever really see myself staying here. I liked the community a lot and thought I would stay involved after graduating with alumni stuff and all that. But when I was a senior, I had an internship class, and I originally did it with Norton. Had some really toxic supervisors over there. After 2 times, I needed a new internship. So I actually did my internship with the old director, Claire Dever, at the Surf. And she got me really into programming and showing how I could do more of exercise science than just PT or anything with sports and health and wellness. So after that, I kind of was I could kind of see myself, if not staying at Bellarmine, staying in a college setting or some health education. And then going into grad school, I got involved with being a peer wellness educator on campus. And then kind of after that, I remember my supervisor at the time, now my coworker, Emily, was would you want to work here? I had one more year before I graduated, and I'm yeah, sounds good to me. So, and then it all worked out, started working kind of during that lockdown period, and then have just been here ever since. They can't get rid of me, so.
So then, as you said, they can't get rid of you. Is this something that you're wanting to be doing for the long haul?
Yeah, as long as I enjoy. I always enjoy working here, and everybody's always the one thing is they're you have a real job is the thing that people always say to me. They're we just thought you were a student, because I'm still really close to that age and still look the part. So most people, I have my backpack on when I'm around, so people think I'm going to class still. But yeah, I think so. At this point, so I'm trying to think. This would be year 8 or 9 of me. I think it's year 9 of me being on campus, either as a concluding student and working here. Mm-hmm. So 6 of those years, obviously, about 6 of those years studying, and then now 3 years working. So yeah, so I don't see myself going anywhere. My family's kind of pushing me to go PhD route. Don't know really if I want to do that yet or not. I kind of enjoyed working and just being, working, going home, not having to worry about classes. So so I don't see myself going anywhere in the long run. I know people are always oh well, you could make X amount of money over there, but it's yeah, but I prefer being somewhere I'm happy.
Yeah,
that's
sure.
One thing my dad really talks to me a lot about it. He struggled a lot with he's gone from jobs a lot in his field, and he's always he always wishes he stayed at the job where he maybe was making less money, but he was able to support me and my family, and he was happy. Mm-hmm. He loved going to work, and that's here is I feel I go to work, but I'm also at home too, because I lived here for 3 years on campus. So I was my director and my coworkers don't understand. Sometimes I'll just come here to hang out with friends, and they're well, you're at work. I'm well, no. If I'm not at my computer or working, it's not work to me. So when I come watch a soccer game, for example, they're why were you at work over the weekend? I'm I was watching a soccer game, and then went to UDH with some people. I was that's not work. I was I enjoy the community. So yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Mm-hmm. So we'll get into it a little bit more later on, but you're in charge of a lot of events here at Bellarmine. As a student at Bellarmine, did you yourself go out and attend a lot?
So I didn't do a whole lot of events. The main things I was involved in were, obviously, I spent a ton of time at the Surf for most of my time, working out with friends. That was kind of a big social thing. It was like me and my friends would go work out the surf. We did a couple group fitness classes. My best friend, he's not very social. He doesn't like to go to stuff when we were here, but I would kind of drag him to be like, hey, let's go to bingo. And like, we may not win anything, but we kind of went to a lot of bigger events. And I always like to, there's like always tabling events like in Cafe Ogo outside UDH, like stop by, get the free stuff or learn about what they're doing. And then like involvement wise, I was on Exercise Science Association for most of my time. I was in the gaming club for a while. And just tried to go as many events as possible. A lot like Ball on the Bell was kind of our big thing. If looking back, I wish I would have been a little more involved, but it's like, never know. Like, I was always worried I would stretch myself too thin with like, being involved in classes and everything. But I thought I tried to get around and do like participate as much as I can.
Yeah, for sure. So you're primarily in the surf. That's where I think I first started to recognize you being there consistently. Is that something, has fitness always just been a passion of yours?
Not really till I got to college. The first time it came up was my dad went on this huge fitness journey when I was in high school. He just wanted to just change himself, lose weight. He wanted to just feel better. And he went on this huge fitness journey, and he had like a personal trainer help him for a little bit. And I saw how it helped his mood and just overall like his life. He was like more excited, obviously more energetic. It was always funny because we'd like get home from school and he's like, you want to go with me? And I was like, growing up, I've always just been like kind of the smaller kid. I'm tall but kind of lanky. Like everybody always thinks I play basketball, and I'm like, no. But I had very severe back surgery when I was in high school. It was scoliosis, so my spine was like an S. It was just because I grew too quick with my growth spurt, so I had to have rods in my back. So that really hindered me from doing anything active for most of high school. And I was always nervous I was going to hurt myself or injure myself. But then when I was in the hospital, I saw like a physical therapist, and we went over a lot, and they obviously came to the house and did like physical therapy with me. And I saw how much I enjoyed like learning about the muscles and exercise. And then I took Intro to Exercise Science here. And my professor, Dr. Carnes, he like just went on like how much stuff you could do with exercise, how it benefited you. And then my biggest thing was always like intimidation at the gym. So like I walk in and there's going to be like the strong man lifter over there like lifting like 400 pounds, and I'm going to be like, I'm just over here doing my curls. But once I pushed myself, I think it was the first summer between freshman and sophomore year, I was like, I live close, I'm going to go to the gym 3 days a week. And I fell in love with it. And then my roommate here, he was a big lifter, so we both were like accountability buddies. Like we both wanted to, like we had our certain goals to hit. My main thing was just like a huge stress reliever. I put my favorite music on, lift heavy weight, and it felt better. I felt so much better, like stress of classes, with everything going on. So, and then obviously studying exercise science led me to be a personal trainer, group fitness instructor. My thing was growing up, like phys ed, PE always made exercise feel like it was unfun, it was boring, it was only for like athletes. But I feel like if it was taught to be like, find the way you like to have fun. So like for me, if we'd had like different days we'd do, so like I really like to play kickball, but like most of the time it'd be like, oh no, we're gonna play this sport or do this, and I was like, well, I don't like that. And it was like, if I could show how much like making it you enjoy, I think that just helps so much. So if I have a student as a client, I'm always like, if you don't like to do like deadlifting, we can do something else.
Yeah, for sure.
I was like, if you like to, and they're like, well, I don't like to run. I'm like, you can get your cardio so many other ways. I was like, walk. I was like, dance. Like literally put your music on, dance in your dorm room. Like you'd be surprised how much of a workout that is. But yeah, that's kind of how exercise kind of slowly, kind of towards like high school and into college. And now I'm like, always active most times of the week. So
awesome. Yeah. And then so last year I was a part of a class that we went around and we would shoot videos for events going on at campus, and I noticed one thing that was kind of consistent was that you were there. A lot of the events you helped put on. So can you kind of talk about that? Do you have an event that has been the favorite that you put on?
Yeah, oh geez. So lots of events with wellness. My big thing is like I always like to have a presence. Even if I've got like a meeting that's in between it or I've got something going, I like to like meet with my students, be a presence there so people kind of have like a professional staff member's face. Like if I need to talk to somebody, they can talk to me, or if they have questions, it's always nice. But a favorite event, the newest favorite event, I guess you could say, that we did was Bob Ross Night last spring. And we do a lot of like art therapy events throughout the semester, a lot of crafts and stuff. But one thing my friends, my coworkers and them were telling me is like, we want to do one really fun night. Bob Ross is still super popular. You know, he's in a lot of memes and stuff, and he's like got merchandise, and we're like, what if we did like right before finals, like everybody came just painted with Bob like on the big screen. So it went really well. We got nervous because it was a super nasty night. We ran Frazier. It was like 2 minutes before it started, and we're like, oh my gosh, no one's coming. And then all these cars parked outside of Frazier, and then we had like 60 to 80 people come.
Wow.
So it was like a great turnout, and that was like a brand new something that like I felt like we just kind of created on a whim, and it went really well. Probably that relaxation station is kind of the biggest one we do. Like this semester's 4 times a week, so we've been out in the quad a lot since it's been nice, and just do different stuff every day. Always have snacks because I know like you run in between classes. Like can't go to UDH, can't go to Cafe Ogle, grab a snack just to help you keep going. Some people may not eat meeting for the day, so. But I think that I could go. We have done so many events over the time here. It's kind of hard to keep track of it all, but I think most recently the Bob Ross one was my favorite one we've done in a while, since it was like brand new and it went so well.
Yeah. So do you have any advice for maybe people that are a little bit more antisocial, more introverted, but still want to kind of go out there, experience the college life, like in terms of going to these events? They may be a little bit hesitant to do so, but do you have any advice for them to go out there and join a part of one of these events?
Yeah. So I'm introverted. I've been introverted all my life. Like I'm more social now, obviously, because I always say Bellarmine broke my shell my freshman year, and if I didn't break my shell, I wasn't going to succeed in classes or socially. But my main thing was like just kind of go outside your comfort zone a little bit. Like even if maybe you don't have any friends that are going to an event, try and go, and you may make a bunch of new friends. My hope is that like the students that are working it or the staff there, like maybe like ask them like about it, how you can get involved more. Maybe even like I think for a lot of people, I'll use like the surf as an example. Like my student workers there, a lot of them that are commuters, most of their friends all work at the surf, and they've kind of got to know friends like that. And now they all go to like events together. Even your classes, just like say you want to do a study group or something, like that's how I started my friend group, was an anatomy study group with the girls who sat right in front of me, and I overheard them, and I just like out of my comfort zone, I was like, hey guys, do you mind if I like study with you? One of you was in my WOW group, and they're like, yeah, sure. So my thing is just take that step outside your comfort zone. It can be super hard. For me, that was like, holy cow, I'm like sweating. I was like, but it all went good. And then that turned into like a multi-year friendship with these people, and like doing life together, going to events. Because I think student affairs and just Bellarmine puts on some great events, and I feel bad I know not everybody can go, but if you're worried about going, like for the social aspect, just go. You may make some new friends. Even if you don't, you were out there, you're putting yourself out there, taking that step. You never know, you may meet your best friend there. So sure. My thing that I've kind of lived by for the past like 2 or 3 years is like, if you never try, you'll never know. So that's one thing for me, is like, even if I send that email, like, yeah, it's nerve-wracking, like they may tell me no, but like, hey, at least I tried. Or like, if we don't try something new, we won't know. Yeah. So that's my biggest, just take that step, break your shell a little bit. I'm sure it'll be worth it in the long run. It was for me. It's scary, but you can still be introverted and still have your, I always like to have my me time, going home, relaxing, reading a book, playing some games. So, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. It's been great. for those of you that see Mason around, make sure you say hello. I'm sure that there are a bunch of events that he's got planned up here throughout the semester. So if you have any questions about that, make sure you talk to him. He's a very gracious man. He's willing to talk for sure, and he's always there to help out. So make sure you link up with him. And thank you all for tuning in this weekend. This has been another episode of Gabbin with Gavin. See you later.